Solopreneurs, come on down! Unpacking all your business woes on the go. Your queens of business banter, Laura and Lindsay. You're in for a hilarious half hour of unconventional, unpredictable, unadulterated solopreneur shenanigans, jam-packed with pearls of wisdom and actionable aha moments. Let's get ready to banter!
Welcome everyone to the podcast. She is Laura. She's a presentation skills guru, an improviser and a performance coach. And she kindly went and got a tissue when she needed it.
Yes, and she is Lindsay. She is a creative coach, an improv teacher, and she takes ages to do a number two.
This is true. I mean, look, if you're going to, you may as well listen to a podcast. That's what I reckon. You know?
100%. And you don't want to be squeezing too hard because that's not going to end well.
That is not good to push too hard.
Hell
not
no.
good at all. We were just having a bit. Is that Tony?
No,
Tony's not at the office, is he?
How good is my soundproofing, eh?
I love the soundproofing.
It
looks amazing.
You heard the dog barking.
Yeah. I didn't think of that. Yeah.
For anyone who's listening, I am in a soundproof studio. I'm making those things.
She's doing the quotation, air quotes.
Quotation.
Yeah,
soundproof studio. Which clearly is working really well. But that's not my dog. No, that was a very manly bark. My dog is a little bit more metrosexual.
Right. So it's a bit of a dog central office there,
is it? Today, yeah.
There you go.
Doggy daycare.
Lovely. That's beautiful. We were speaking before we pressed record, just catching up on our week and stuff, just bitching. You know how it is. And you mentioned something that sounds like it's going to be quite a big unpack.
Yes.
So then I was like, let's talk about this on the show.
Yeah.
So give it to me. What talk me through it.
Give it to you, baby. So I have noticed in the last couple of weeks that I want to say the majority of people, I can't say all, but the majority of people that I come across, myself included, by the way, I find that a lot of us nowadays are tending to not listen properly. We're kind of always waiting for our turn to speak rather than fully listening. And then as a result, asking meaningful questions, having more deep and meaningful conversations, learning some shit that we maybe didn't know. And because we're not doing that, I feel like we're not connecting as well as we want to and we could do, which, as I was saying, is incredibly ironic because that's what we're all kind of craving nowadays. You know, all of the lockdowns we've had, we're all like more tech-based now. So we're really craving connection. But then at the same time, when we have the opportunities, I don't feel like we are taking those opportunities. And so I just thought I would discuss because I think it's a shame. So I think if we can make people more aware of it, then they can be more proactive about asking more questions and going deeper into conversations.
It's interesting. When you talk about listening, like in improv, like improvised theatre, which is, as you know, what I teach, it's such an important thing to listen because if you don't listen to your partner, like you can't create a scene, like you can't create what's going to happen next, and you'll be at odds with each other. So it's just interesting. That it sticks with me at the moment that's like an incredible sort of skill that you have to learn as an improviser because you are making it up on the spot.
But is that not our imitating life? Sorry to cut you off, which is
that's
something we shouldn't do. But like life is not scripted, right? We've spoken about this before.
True.
So you're saying that you have to listen to each other so you can kind of work well together and then develop this scene and make it something meaningful, which is exactly what we're saying about life as well, right? Because we're not listening, we're not actually jamming and aligning with each other. So we're not getting that meaningful experience or performance, right?
Yes, and I think though maybe it's easier in improv because it's sort of pre-framed that you should be listening to the other person, and not just listening to words, but like watching body language, feeling emotion, like coming from the other person, like listening on a deeper level, or you know, listening, watching, feeling. on a deeper level, which is just something that comes to mind. And I'm just saying that now. I don't know why that's important, but I'm just saying it. Like you said, all life is improvised. This is a huge, this is a huge unpack, like this thing. I feel like I need to ask you like questions. So do you feel... Hey.
I also have questions.
Okay, good.
First.
Do you feel like in these scenarios, and even you included, like when you feel like I'm not listening or whatever, do you feel in these scenarios, is it like an excitement for the person to say what's been going on, or is it the fact you haven't seen them in a while, or is it like they're trying to be competition with you, or like what do you feel that is?
I think that, like, if you were to peel off all the layers, I think it is basically people feeling a bit insecure and like they need to prove themselves, and that will show up in different ways. So for some, I think it is, competition or trying to be higher in status than someone else. Whereas for others, I think that maybe they don't want people to ask them questions because they don't want to, expose themselves or let anyone know what's really going on. So then they'll keep talking and keep asking the questions to kind of project away from themselves. I know that's something that I would do that. I would do that. Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's very common. A lot of the people I'm thinking about now where I've had this scenario happen recently is they're all the same as us. They're driven solopreneurs, and they do have something to prove in the world, right? As far as they're concerned. And then when you get everyone together, a bit of a pissing match, I suppose. And so I think that's why it can come out, particularly in these groups as well.
Yeah.
Now, I have a question for you to bring it back to improv, because I think it's a lovely comparison, metaphor, whatever you want to call it. I'm interested to know, if someone doesn't listen properly and engage with their partner and listen, as you said, in terms of also body language and, all the other non-verbal cues, what is the result of that? What happens to the scene if they don't pay attention and feed off of that?
Usually it won't make sense.
Yeah.
It'll go somewhere. It won't make sense. It will be very superficial. There won't be any deep relationship, and you probably won't know what relationship each person is to each other. It's very interesting because they'll start sort of talking about all the things, but you won't know the relationship. So then if I'm coaching like improv, I'll have to go, okay, guys, good scene. Yes, we know you're on a fishing trip. Yes, we know last week this happened. But who are you to each other? Because it's not clear. I'm not getting any relationship between you two. So that's an interesting, I guess, like you said, metaphor where it seems like people are talking at you, rather than talking with you. And in improv, in that sense, it's like I can't see what your relationship is because you're talking at each other.
And what's the impact of that then in terms of the experience, both for the improvisers and for the audience?
Well, it's a pretty low stakes scene. So you're watching this scene and you're like, why am I watching this? This is boring.
Yeah.
That's kind of why, like from the audience's perspective, they're like, why? Because the whole thing is with improv, if you're putting a scene on, this is the day. This is the most important day because this is the scene that we've chosen to see as an audience. So something important is happening, and all important things happen on the level of relationship. Relationship and character. Those are the two things, So it's just kind of, otherwise it's just kind of like two people just like talking about their shopping list or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just boring and it doesn't go anywhere. And also people don't invest. So as a player, you don't invest in the scene. You don't heighten the stakes. You don't go deeper into the scene. You just basically play the scene without feeling the scene, which is, two different things.
Is that not what most of us are experiencing in life? Like we're skirting along. We're what's that saying? We're no, not surviving. We're existing. We're existing rather than living. Like that's
yes,
exactly that, right? And when you said that about, this is the moment when you come to improv, you're in it and that's the moment, that's the most important thing. Like imagine if we went about every scene, I'm doing the quotation marks again.
Yeah.
Every scene in life or every interaction with someone. Imagine if we went into that going, this is the most important thing right now. How can I give everything to this, listen appropriately, feed off this other person or this situation so that we can create an enriched, meaningful experience to then move on to the next thing? How freaking good would that be?
How did you know you're a genius?
Yeah. Thank you.
But and that you just saying that in the moment makes me think, what is this? What is this? What is this? This is being present.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, very often you're not listening because you're not present.
Yeah.
You're doing the head miles, you're thinking about something else, or you're thinking about what you're going to say next, or whatever it is. And I think being present is really important as well.
Absolutely. And I know from the improv that I've done that when I'm not present, sometimes I will show up and I haven't given myself 5-10 minutes to just decompress. It doesn't go as well. As far as I'm concerned, I don't enjoy the experience as much. I don't believe I give as much as I could to the experience. And I got to tell you, it's the same for life, I mean, for me, my marriage comes to mind as one of the most important times when that is, my husband and I, we both have our own businesses. So we've constantly got shit going on in our heads. And so if we don't find a way to let that go and make the moment that we are together, because we don't have that many moments together, the most important thing at that time, then everything would be so much different or so much better, right? Because we would just be able to connect in that moment, feel loved. And then as everyone I'm sure knows when you're listening, when you feel loved, when you feel connected, shit just works better in all areas of life, right?
Yes, 100%. And then that's also going back to the sort of improv thing about yes and, that's the kind of catch cry of improv is say yes and build on that. And you can't really say yes to someone if you haven't listened. Or you're just saying yes, but you're not, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly. I suggest you don't, just in case you sign up for something that you will later regret.
Yeah, totally.
So that's a good segue actually into my next question for you. So since we're comparing life to improv, can you give us a couple of examples or ways that you would use in improv to get people to get into the scene and to listen? Because I'm pretty sure we can probably do the same thing in life.
Yes. I would, a couple of games maybe. I'd probably play a couple of games. I mean, definitely just the simple word at a time one, which you know that one. Basically, each person is just using one word. On many levels, that's an important listening exercise because that, of all games, is in the territory of going to a story that doesn't make sense. Because people aren't listening to each other and listening to the story that's come behind. So they're just waiting for their turn to say their word because they've only got one word, and then and also that kind of ends up being you see other things in people as in control. So sometimes that not listening thing is a form of control because you're trying to control the conversation.
Absolutely.
And in word at a time, you'll see the control freaks because they want 2 words or whatever. They start saying 2 words. Or they'll start getting this weird face because the story's going in some weird way they didn't really want the story to go. So
before you go on, can we quickly do a really quick word at a time? So if anyone doesn't know what that is, now you're about to experience it.
Okay, cool. So we'll just do a little word at a time story and let's do it about dogs in the office because that's what going on we started with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So today
I
saw
2
dogs
inside
the
office.
Then
you'll
see
another
dog
outside
the
office
doing
something
bad.
End scene.
Yeah, basically. Now, you said a word and I didn't know whether you said your or you'll, and so I had to just go off what I thought I heard.
Yeah.
You realize that because you were listening and you realized, oh, I don't know if that's right, but we're going to keep it going so that it stays on track, and we're going to make that the right thing, you know?
Yeah.
And that was perfect. And it made complete sense. It was a good little story. But you'll just see weird stuff. Like people just get really upset, really aggravated, like when it doesn't go where they want to go. And then someone says something and they go, what? And I'm saying, just whatever you think you heard, just go with that. And then someone will work it out. At some point, we'll get back on track. It's all fine. It's just a game.
Or you might go somewhere you never thought you'd go and experience something completely new. I'm pretty sure if we kept going with that, it would have probably gone down pretty low.
it would have gone, definitely. I mean, there would have definitely, it would have gone down in tone. I mean, that's why you tastefully ended the scene at that time. In talking about that comes to mind, and it didn't come to mind before you pressed me with the question about exercises. That control is probably an element in this as well.
Yeah.
How do I control a conversation? How can I control my image? When I'm in
think
conversation
about me.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
100%. And I actually played the one word at a time game. I went away for the weekend with some mates, and one of them had actually let me in on a secret that he was a bit socially anxious because there was people that didn't know each other. And so I was like, but he'd asked me about improv and, you know, why I do that and if it helps me with things like that. So I was like, let's just play some games so you can experience it. And we did it. And you could literally see the energy. And he typically, by the way, is a very, very bad listener. And he did also agree to that, because he spoke to me and he was like, I'm not really 100% sure what you do. And I've known these people for a long time. So he was like, I think I need this. I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I do, by the way. So yeah, we definitely need to work on this listening thing. But you could just see that he was really enjoying the experience. He was in it. Obviously, we were connecting because we were listening to each other and vibing off of each other. So I just love how something so simple can serve so many purposes and make such a difference.
Yes, definitely. And just listening to you saying about what was the bit that you just said there, where you said that he was saying he was a bad listener. Well, he sort of admitted that he was a bad listener. I hear this all the time in improv too. People will say to me, I'm a really bad listener. And I probably should ask more questions about that. I generally think I had a friend who's also an improviser, and when she was teaching her improv, especially musical improv, she would say, listen, if you just put your focus completely on your partner, like you're listening 100%, and your attention is completely taken up with what's their body language doing, what are they feeling, what are they saying, there's actually no room in your brain for any weird criticisms of self, judgment, all this sort of stuff, because you are focused on somebody else, making that person look good, which is something we say in improv, make your partner look like a genius. And you should be so attentive to that other person that none of this other stuff even enters your brain.
Yeah, that would be amazing. So what about then if you are, let's say you're in a scene and you realize that your brain has wandered off, like what's something that someone could do to get their head back in that moment? What would you advise?
Okay, so depending on sort of what technique you're using, if you were doing a scene, there's an improviser called Patty Stiles who's a master improviser, and she does what I call it out Patty. So basically she will literally say, I'm sorry, I just completely tuned out like right now, and I have no idea about what you just said. Can you please say that again to me? Because I really want to know what it is. And you actually, transparency, you call it out. I didn't hear any of that. Please forgive me. I fully just checked out. Please tell me again. So that's one thing, is if you have the balls to be honest enough to basically say you weren't listening, then that would be something. But you can do that in a scene as well. The character in the scene can do that.
And make a joke out of it. And I know for me, when I'm speaking, I will just pause and take a bit of a breath, because I find when my thoughts go off to, oh my God, that person didn't smile at your joke, or, oh, you know, you're going to fuck up, you're going to say the wrong thing, whatever, you look fat in your outfit, whatever, you know, everyone knows all the things that come up.
Yeah.
I know when those voices come in that I've gone into fight or flight mode, and I'm totally up in my head and not in my, I don't want to say heart because that sounds wanky, but you know what I mean, like present. Yep. And so I will literally find a way to pause. Maybe I'll pose a question to the audience or something, and just have a pause, quick little deep breath. So my brain goes, okay, we're cool. We're not in danger. And then it just helps me regroup and get back in the moment.
Great.
And you can do that. You can do a nice, like, cheeky deep breath without anyone really realizing that that's what you're doing.
Yes.
So yeah, that's
great point.
Cheeky
and
one.
I think I would agree with you in improv as well. So if you're not going to call it out, then you could actually just pause, just take a breath, and then just go from what you did here. You know,
I think we should take a breath now.
The other thing that I tend to do if I'm starting to freak out about something is I just have these two questions that I ask myself, and that is, what time is it now? Where am I? Here. What time is it now? Where am I? Here. What time is it now? Where am I? Here. And as I say it more and more, you feel yourself really coming into the moment. So here and now. Where am I? Here. What time is it now? Where am I? Here. What time is it now? And that's just something that I would, like a mantra thing, like if I really was like losing my shit, you know. Of
course, I love it. And again, that's something that people can have in real life, you know, like if you are going into a social interaction or, you know, networking, a lot of us solopreneurs will have to network. That's just the way it goes. Or whatever, you know, might be going in to have a challenging conversation with our partner. Maybe they're really pissing us off and we want to call them out on it and we're a bit anxious about that, you know. There's scenarios all day, every day where we can be a bit unsure of ourselves and of what's going to happen. So something as simple as take a deep breath, say to yourself, what time is it now? Where am I? Here? Is that
yes.
better?
Yeah. Either way, here and now, or now and here, whatever works.
Then again, it's just about letting your brain know it's okay, letting the thoughts go away so you can be in the moment and have an excellent scene, an excellent experience, connect with the person, vibe off the person, and potentially go somewhere that you never thought that you would go before.
Exactly.
Whether that is in subject matter or whether it's just in connection, or whether it is in just yourself being present and calm, and not in constant freak out mode.
Yeah. And I think while you were saying that, it was making me think of, you know, because you said about opening up to other things, to other potentials that could happen because you are present and because you are listening. I think that is huge because when you're not listening and you're trying to control, you are limiting the outcome of this transaction. Like you are limiting that. So by doing this, it's kind of like you're more expanding your repertoire.
Absolutely. And when we've got an expanded repertoire, we've got more stuff to draw on when we come to different situations.
Exactly.
The brain's got more books in the library or, you know, items on the shelf that it can grab, things in the toolbox when it has another scenario if we're constantly expanding. And oh my gosh, is this not the easiest way possible to expand and to enjoy life, is to just be in the moment, be here, be now, and listen and respond according to what's going on right now and fuck everything else.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know if you've heard of Carl Rogers. He's one of the greatest relationship counselors of all time. And he also he worked as a diplomat for a while, like with countries, like if they were arguing and stuff, you know. And he's very much he coined the phrase unconditional positive regard, which is what I like to use. Like in improv, I'll say to everybody, we want to have unconditional positive regard for each other, like all the time. Yeah. And a lot of counseling skills, you know, like active listening, paraphrasing, those type of things as well. They're actual skills that you can use and learn that make you listen more. Because if you need to paraphrase someone, you need to listen to what they're saying to be able to paraphrase them.
Absolutely. And nothing makes you feel more connected when you feel like someone's got you by just going, all right, so what you're saying is.
What you're saying is,
ABC. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh, I didn't know that's where this conversation was going to go, guys. You are literally experiencing what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Like before we
100%.
went live, we were like, we don't know where this is going to go, so let's just talk
Yeah.
and see what happens. But I think to summarize, number one,
Yes.
life is unscripted. You don't know what's going to happen. You can only be in the moment and then roll with that and take action in the moment. And you do that by listening, by responding to that person in that moment.
Yes.
And then by constantly just bringing yourself back to that moment, whether it's breathing, whether it's a little mantra, whether it's just reminding yourself that by being in the moment, you're actually expanding and opening yourself up to more opportunities. And also reminding yourself this friggin' heaps more fun when you're just present in the moment and vibing and connecting with a person than it is being lost in your head and sweating all the small stuff at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Like, think of it this way. You know, you're a solopreneur. You're always thinking about your business. You're always this, you're always that, blah, 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 blah. Think of it this way. What if your interactions with other people is your holiday? From all of that
holiday
stuff.
where you don't have to shave.
That too. That's I just wear jeans. I'm not shabby. So and the long sleeves. But yeah. So that time of connection can be a holiday from your own brain.
Yes, I love that. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys, let's take more holidays because everyone's going to benefit from it, and you're going to calm the F down and have a much better time.
Yes. I think that's it. I think we close this baby.
Too.
I think we close this baby now.
And scene, my friends.
And scene.
You've been listening to Banterpreneurs. If you have a question for us to answer on the show, submit it on our website at banterpreneurs.com. And if you liked what you heard, give us a review and share the love with a fellow business mate. See you next week for more solopreneur shenanigans.